Well, I could not be more thrilled to introduce our speaker for today. Someone I'm very proud to call my friend. I feel like I've known you for so long. I don't actually remember when we first met because it's been quite a minute. Uh, but I want to welcome my dear friend Rayvon, Pastor Rayvon Moore. Uh, of Charlotte Black Pride, a dynamic preacher, board certified chaplain, and community leader whose ministry is grounded in inclusion, healing, and purpose. In his message today, he will invite us to wrestle with the difference between reacting to injustice and choosing bold, faithful action rooted in moral clarity. It is my honor to introduce everyone and pass the baton to Rayvon Moore.
Well, good morning again to you all. I'm so forever grateful just to be here. To my friend Liz. You know what, Liz is my sister in this life and a whole nother life. I'm just so grateful to be here and for you all. I'm also extremely grateful for, as I stated before, one of the best directors of entertainment for Charlotte Black Pride and the pageant scene to Elder Quan and to my son, Dejan. I'm grateful. So my goal is very simple. And today I prepared just a simple thought um, in respect and in light of the interfaith. I want to take this perspective from a famous biblical story in Mark 11 and 22, because a lot of times most Christian churches represent Jesus as one particular view, but they fail to realize Jesus was homeless, but he was a rebel. Jesus did not settle for injustice. So I want to help us look at that. And so today we're talking about action versus reaction. And so today I want to open up, and you all are welcome to read Mark 11 and 22 through 29. I'll give you a back end as we go along through this. As the world trembles under the weight of injustice, inequality, we find ourselves at a crossroad. Ladies and gentlemen, we challenge to respond not with fear or be cowards, but with a bold and decisive action. Many come from many traditions, from many paths, from Christian to Jewish to Muslim, humanist, and more. But we are united by a deep moral conviction. We are called to be more than passive spectators, but we are called to be agents of transformation. So today I want you to ask yourself this question. How do we handle action versus reaction when the battles we face are not about ego or denomination, but about justice, compassion, peace, and human dignity? Well, here, let's look at what action versus reaction and who holds the power, right? Action says we hold the power. We will move forward with conviction and consciousness. But reaction says we surrender power to whatever confronts us. We become slaves to fear, division, and chaos. Most people get afraid of that word slaves, but I'm going to call it what it is. We become slaves to fear, division, and chaos. But today, I challenge you to move from reaction, from a place of weakness into action, a place of moral resolve and deep faith in something greater than you. Well, let's understand this breakdown of the text of Mark 11:22, because in seminary they did teach us to do our homework, even though I always hated it. So Mark brings us to a powerful story within a story, a narrative filled with symbolism, justice, and renewal. The fig tree barren yet full of leaves symbolize a people, a community, and that appears to be thriving externally, but was barren of the justice, compassion, and peace that God demanded. In a dramatic action, Jesus speaks a word of judgment to the fig tree, then enters the temple, his father's house, and cleanses it of injustice and hypocrisy. This act wasn't a moment of weakness or impulsivity. It was a powerful demonstration, a dramatic, purposeful intervention against a system that chose prestige over compassion and form over fairness. Stay with me, we're going somewhere. Here's the question, because everybody, they know me as a problem preacher. My problem that I have is that Jesus sees a tree, he curses the tree, but you curse a tree that's not in season. This fig tree is not in season. You look from a distance, you see leaves, and then when you get up to it, you curse it because it does not have what you want. Well, here's the question that I must ask you today. Are we showing fruit? This is a hard, piercing question for us all, people of all faiths and traditions, to consider. Are we bearing the fruit of justice, compassion, peace, and unity? Are we a community rich in our leafage, busy with ceremonies and routines, but barren of the deep moral fruit that transforms the world? Ask yourself that question today. Because many people are fighting for justice, but they're fighting with no fruit. They're fighting with no evidence that they can win the battle. They can have the victory. There's no evidence. This fig tree that Jesus cursed, he sees it from a distance. He sees leaves, but there's no figs. But this is what's so significant. Ladies and gentlemen, the tree that he is cursing, this tree, figs are, they don't come in season until coming out of the end of the summer. Okay? And he curses this tree. That is always funny to me. You curse something that does not have the ability to even sprout up anything right now. But there should be some evidence that something is coming. Ask yourself this question today, Wedgewood family. When I am fighting for justice, can the people, can the marginalized community see the evidence that there is a change coming? Can my fellow LGBTQ plus community feel that there's a change coming? Because many people will talk about change, but many people don't work towards it and get the change. So here I want you to take a bold action. We find ourselves in the moment that demands bold and decisive action. This is the time for you, leaders, to lead with compassion and conviction. Ordinary people to realize that their power to shape the future. And all of us to confront hard conversations, dismantling injustice and racism wherever we find it. It in our institutions, in our relationships, and even within ourselves. We must do this not for popularity or prestige, but for the future of the generations to come. I want you to think about that. You have a generation that's coming behind you. And I need this to say, the generation behind me is very liberal. But you have the power. So some may say we're causing trouble or disturbing the peace, but sometimes peace must be disrupted to make way for true justice. As the famous representative, the late John Lewis, says it like this: never ever be afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble, necessary trouble. So here, let me give you a challenge. I never want to end without a challenge. And I want y'all to know I'm doing good, okay? All right. My grandparents was raised United Methodist. My dad was Baptist and my mom was Pentecostal Holiness. And they taught me, you never be long-winded. I'm doing good. My goodness. So here's my challenge to you all. Transform fear into faith. Again, transform your fear into faith. Here it is. Today, you have to choose. Will we be reactive, tossed by every crisis, or will we be proactive, shaping a future grounded in our compassion and love? Will we use our positions whatever influence we have to empower the powerless and lift up the vulnerable? Will we allow fear, division to dictate our future, or will we respond with an action that comes from a deep faith in the power of love and justice? I want you to think about this. Jesus went into the temple after cursing the tree and flipped over tables because what they were doing was not right. Think about this. You may not can go in and flip some tables now, but what tables do you plan to flip in the future so that the next generation can have it? And guess what? I must go ahead and bust the bubble and say this. I'm not just fighting for the generation behind me, but I'm fighting for me right now. I understand we must prepare for our future, but what are you doing right now? Because guess what? You only got one life to live. And I'll be doggone if I let an administration tell me how to live my life. I'll be doggone if I allow racism to put me in a box and put me in a place where my ancestors and everyone has fought through. I'll be doggone if I, in my now, allow people with hatred to tell me that love still don't exist, because it does. Here's my final words to you. You, ladies and gentlemen, be the change. Today we are called to take action instead of reaction. Be the people we wish to see in the world, of peoples whose faith bears lasting fruit. Let me say that, not old fruit, but lasting fruit. Together, across traditions, across divisions, we can create ripples of change that will conquer fear and injustice. So let us move forward with unity, with conviction, and with compassion. Let us be the hands, the feet, and make sure you be the voice of the present and future to fill it with peace, equality, and hope. So today, go now, not tomorrow, not yesterday, but go now. Be the change, bear much fruit, transform this world. And lastly, you do it boldly. Amen and ashe.
Ashe.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you
Mm.
so much for that. I'm going to be sitting with that for a while. So after our speaker, we like to offer up time for discussion. And any questions? Anybody have any thoughts they'd like to share or questions they'd like to ask about what Rayvon shared his message today? I know that the first thing that came to me that I've been thinking about is, you use the metaphor of how are we bearing fruit. I think sometimes we can hold ourselves back from bearing fruit. Like we are the reason our own reason for not bearing fruit, because maybe it's like our own ego, or we haven't dealt with a particular trauma or leaned into like a growth edge for some reason. So I mean, there can be external systemic reasons for not bearing fruit, and for everything there is a season. But I think sometimes we don't bear fruit because of our own free will, and we've got to push through that. We've got to push through that and figure out how are we holding ourselves back, and how can we move through that so we're no longer doing that and can actually bear fruit.
Um, I'd like to know what ideas do you have, Brother Rayvon, to be act to show action instead of reaction. What can you give me some suggestions on or examples on how one would do that, and what direction you would go in to do that? Coming out of being I guess I was I'm reactive, I believe, by listening to your words. But at sometimes I show action. And I think the reaction comes from, like you said, fear, but also maybe not fear, but not knowing what to do, knowing that there is something that needs to be done, but what do you do? How do you do? Where do you do? What would be the first step, do you think?
So, wonderful question. I think one of the things when we talk about what do we do, you have to first know where is your passion? Where does your passion lie? And I know it sounds like, wait a minute, what the passion? You have to know where your passion is at, because when you know where your passion is at, your passion will cause you to be an innovator to see what action needs to be done. So, prime example, I know for me, my passion is loving to see people heal and transform.
Hmm.
The action for me is becoming a chaplain, right? But the next action is, while I am doing this, the job that I now hold, um, it sits on a land that was originally a slave land, right? You can still see the slave master's house, right? Just giving a prime example. So as a chaplain, I'm asking myself, I know my passion is to see people change and transform. What action do I take for people that still sit in the privilege on this land? Well, my action is I got to bring awareness to you.
Hmm.
So I was invited to the DEI council. So now I sit there and I let my voice be heard and also implement, we need to do this, this, and this. And I put my hands to do it. So I had to find the passion first and then find how to be an innovator and incorporate things in that will cause action that now they have to react
Hmm.
because of the action that my passion has developed, if that
Hmm.
kind of makes sense.
Yes, it does make sense. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So find where the passion is first and then grow from there.
hmm
Hmm.
Because, a lot of times, even with people who go to school to be a nurse, right? And just using that, if they're a nurse and they find their passion in people being healed, well, the action for them is, all right, I'm going to be a nurse and I'm going to go in this room. Hey, what can I do for you? Let me do this. I don't like how they treat the patient today. So I'm going to take action to go to the next step and be an
Okay.
advocate. So, whatever your passion is, you got to find it and you maneuver through it.
Yeah. You got to find that fertile soil to
Hmm.
continue with that tree metaphor. You got to
Yeah,
hmm
find
yeah,
whatever
yeah,
your
yeah,
fertile soil is.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I'd like to know more of what you do with the healing process. How do you use that passion? What tools do you have to heal people that have been traumatized in their life?
Um, First is just for me is honesty. Like, because a lot of times when going through trauma, a lot of them have already been lied to already. It didn't really happen. Are you sure about that? You sure it wasn't you? I think it was you. You need to stop crying. Get over it, girl. No. I want them to be honest, because eventually you're going to have to face it. I'm a firm believer in just me. There is no such thing as I'm going to avoid trauma. No, you're going to have to face it. The same way that it rains outside, you're going to have to go through the rain to get to your car if you're going somewhere, right?
Right.
So getting them there is being honest and authentic. But sometimes being present and letting them talk, letting them lead, because eventually they're going to lead me in this car with them. They're going to lead me through the trauma where I can understand what's hurting them the most.
Yeah.
And then eventually, the tools that I'll use is a ministry of presence. I use reflective listening. I hear you saying to me that your daddy abused you or mama didn't want you. I hear you saying that. So it sounds like there's some level of abandonment and you're searching for something else. By utilizing those tools, I'm allowing them to have a voice and not make noise, because trauma will cause you to make noise in many different ways. But
Yes.
when someone is there, it gives you a voice, because I tell everybody, noise will eventually be shut down. But when you have a voice, it will carry.
Hmm.
And you want to have a voice that carries a voice of healing, but you have to start dealing with the noise first, the noise of that trauma.
Yes, yes, I understand the noise part of it. Yes, and it's so you have to give them a safe space in order to open up so you can hear the story and reflect on the story and then
Mm-hmm.
know where to go where the healing is needed.
Yeah. And then really defining what is safe space, really defining that because oftentimes, and I love my church. I'm a proud member of St. Luke Missionary Baptist Church. Um, and so even when I go to St. Luke, this is a safe space for what I've always been used to. But what does a safe space look for me now when it doesn't look like a church building? Like, what does that look like? And I think Wedgewood has done a wonderful job of creating what a safe space look like.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think the safe space is not actually a building, but I think it's the people around you and who you're
Hmm.
able to open up to. It's not an actual build. It can be a building. You feel safe in this building. I'm comfortable
Hmm.
in this building. I like this room. But also a safe space is the people around you. Can I open up to you? Can I say what I've been holding on to freely without
Hmm.
reacting in a way that's negative or whatever that is. So yeah, to have that safe space in whatever form it is I think is the initial start of opening up and being able to heal trauma and pain.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Hmm.
think Charlotte Black Pride does that really well as well. So, Rayvon, can you speak a little bit to the work that you do with Charlotte Black Pride and the work that Charlotte Black Pride does?
Most definitely. So I am the chaplain on the board, working alongside Quan as well. And we do a lot of great things because we want to make sure that our community feels included. And we want to also make sure we shine a light, especially on our Black queer community as well. And so we are preparing for Charlotte Black Pride Week. My goodness, I hope y'all prepared. So we have a lot of great things. On July the 12th, we're doing our Black is the New Black Kiki Ball. And so, the ballroom scene is so important in our LGBTQ plus community because when many of our youth were getting put out of their houses, the ballroom created that family. Okay. And to the great mother LaBeija, who did not back down, she just said, and created the House of LaBeija and many others. So we have a wonderful Kiki Ball that's July the 12th. Doors open at 1 o'clock p.m. Y'all, last year it was amazing. You don't want to miss it this year. And then also July 13th, our amazing Quan. Liz, is it all right, real quickly, if Quan talks about the
Yeah, I was
pageant?
going to ask.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was going to ask if he would speak on that.
See, Rayvon, you love to put me on the spot. Hi, everybody. So, my name is Quan Rutledge Wade, Elder Quan, Minister Quan, as I'm known to many. I've actually been around Charlotte Black Pride for 20 years now. We're celebrating our 20th year anniversary. I've been around since 2005, since the very first Pride. So, on July 13th, we will be having our Rayvon, keep me straight. Is that the right date? I'm getting old. Sunday, July 13th. Is
Mm-hmm.
that
Hmm.
right? We'll be having our annual Charlotte Black Pride pageant. We'll actually be returning to Hickory, North Carolina, down at Club Cabaret. If you've never been to Club Cabaret, it's a beautiful space. If you've never been to a Charlotte Black Pride pageant, it's a beautiful time. It's very diverse, very entertaining. We have entertainers coming and contestants coming from Ohio, Atlanta, as far as California. Contestants compete in interview. They compete in gown and fashion. They compete in talents. It's $10 general admission. It's a wonderful time. If you need any more information, you can hit me up directly on Facebook or just visit our page at charlotteblackpride.org for additional information. So I'll turn it back over to Rayvon.
Thank you.
Thanks,
No
Quan.
problem.
He's the best. Um, and I'm definitely looking forward to being there. Um, July 17th is What's the LGBT? I love how they did that. So we're going to have that is a time for our town hall, and we have beautiful guests. We're going to be having Miss Heidi Samples, our chair, Sean. We're going to have Cameron Pruitt. We're going to have Justine, Leslie, and we're going to have Mr. Dawkins as well. So it's going to be a great, great time. And that's going to be at the Wonder World West End Studios. And of course, you can look on the website for these flyers. And then we will be doing our kickback meet and greet. So you get a chance to meet the board. And that's on July the 18th at Starlight. And then we have our grand Charlotte Black Pride Festival, Black and Bold. And that will be in the West End Complex. It's going to be absolutely amazing. You do not want to miss it. Liz has always been a great supporter. Liz is just there, just doing wonderful work. And so we love Liz and we hope to see you all there because it's going to be a time this year. Okay. In the words of the meme, we had a time last night.
I'm gonna put the whole like week of events in probably a newsletter that goes out on Thursday so everybody can know about it. And I'll post it on our Facebook group as well. So everybody can see all the events happening.
And also, Liz, can I jump in again?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Also, with the what used to be the Expo is now the Charlotte Black Pride Festival. This is our first year for a VIP experience with the rooftop experience. So we're really excited about that. So there's more info, like I said, on the Charlotte Black Pride webpage and also on our social medias. It's our first year for a VIP experience. We have some excellent entertainers coming. So stay tuned for more information and look at what Liz posts also. Thanks. I'm gonna be quiet, Rayvon. I promise. I won't say anything else.
No, you don't
So
have to be
thank you so
quiet if
much.
you have more information.
We are a team, Quan. We got this.
Thank you. But yeah, I'm very excited. It's our first year having a VIP experience, and we have some that's actually indoors. The festival is outside, but the VIP is indoors, and we have some great surprises and things in store for the whole festival, especially for the VIP section.
Thank you.
Thank you, Quan. Any final questions or thoughts I'd like to share?
I have a question. Let me turn my camera on. Hi.
Hello. Hi, Miss Donna.
I put my question in the chat, but
Yeah, I was answering you.
do you all meet here every week with like a speaker? Is it biblical based? Is this a religious? I'm looking for a non-religious group of people that I can worship God with. Is that this or no?
That sounds like us, right, Liz?
Yeah, I mean, we're interfaith, so everyone might have their own spiritual path, but we might all walk together hand in hand, but everybody has their own path. And I think it's really special because everyone has their own unique perspective and we can learn from each other.
Well, I am very grateful that I found y'all today.
Well,
So I will definitely be back. Thank you so much.
all right.
Absolutely. I just dropped the link to sign up for our newsletter in the chat. And if you want to put your email, I know Ashanti is going to email you real quick.
Yes, put that in there. Yes. Is there anything that we can help you with today? Are you concerned with something? I thought I heard a little quiver in your voice. Is everything okay? I can't hear you, honey.
You're muted.
Sorry, y'all. No, I'm great. I'm emotional
Okay.
because of gratitude, and
Okay, good.
I've been really seeking this, and so
Okay.
I hope this was, God inspired today. I will definitely be back.
Oh, good.
Thank
Where did you hear of Wedgewood?
I went online. And I put in non-religious churches in Charlotte, and you guys just popped up. I initially logged on to 2 other services, and I knew immediately they weren't for me.
Yeah.
But Spirit said, "Don't give up." And then I logged on to this, and I heard that wonderful message by Mr. Moore, Rayvon Moore.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry I was late, and I'm long-winded, so I'm gonna shut
No
up.
apology. No apology needed.
Thank you. I don't know if you're a pastor, minister, whatever, Mr. Moore. Thank you so much. It was beautiful. Thank y'all.
Well, thank you, Donna. For I didn't see you at first. I don't think I did. Did you just come on? You did. Oh,
I
okay.
was late because I was looking at the other services today.
Okay.
So
Because I
That's
didn't see you
okay.
at first.
I won't be late next week.
Oh, don't worry about that. You weren't late. You were right on time.
Right on
You were
time.
right on
Yeah.
time. You was right on
Thank
time.
you.
I'm
Thank you
glad
so
you
much.
stopped by, Miss Donna. We hope to see you again real soon.
Yeah.
We'll get in touch
Thank
with
you
you,
so much for
okay?
joining.
That's great. Look at that. Look at God spreading the love. Spreading the love, reaching out to people that need to be reached, that we don't even know about. You know? Donnie, you was right on time. You wasn't late, sis. You wasn't late. Well, we thank you, Brother Rayvon. You're brother now. Yeah, I can call you Brother Rayvon now. You brother. Thank you so much, Brother Rayvon, for that wonderful message. I can have, I can talk to you all day with all kinds of questions, and I like to talk and get information, get mentally stimulated. But I thank you so much, and I hope to hear from you soon. And I want you to have a safe and exciting trip, with your partner. And the message was powerful. It brought Sister Donna to us. She gravitated towards us. So we appreciate everything, all the good